Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I will talk to you about what's blooming for me and what was blooming for me for the months of December and January. Just to let you know, it's not the most beautiful bloom show because most of my Phalaenopsis are not in full bloom yet, and also I have been having issues with thrips, and thrips are munching on my buds, so some of the plants that you see here are definitely not performing at its full capacity, but nonetheless, I decided to show you some of them. The first orchid that I'm showing you here is my Brassicatlea Highway Star Only One. This one blooms for me once a year, usually around winter, and it is a super complex hybrid, but the advantage of this plant is that it's a very compact Brassicatlea and it is beautiful. It has some perfume to it, and on top of that, you can grow it in a small pot and will do super well. Last year, I had a beautiful bloom show. This plant gave me so many different buds. However, because of thrips, this time I only had one, but that's fine. I enjoy it very much, and these flowers, they last for around a month. So they are gone now. This only flower is spent, but I enjoy it while it lasts. Still in the realm of Cattleyas, here it's another one that is also a compact Cattleya. Oh my gosh, compact Cattleyas are amazing. I super recommend them. This one is my Rinco Cattleya Chialin Red Cat. This one is a survivor orchid. I had it for a long time until it finally bloomed for me. I am super happy to have this beautiful flower. This plant is still in bloom and the flower opened in the end of December. So it will definitely last at least a month, that's for sure. When I recorded my video talking about it, my spotlight, I told you that this plant didn't have any fragrance, but when the flower aged a bit, I could actually sniff the flower and I noticed that it does have a typical Cattleya fragrance. Is this flowery, sweet fragrance that some Cattleyas have. This one is not different from others. It has the same type of fragrance and it is a gorgeous orchid. For me, this one was definitely the highlight of my month because I haven't seen this one in bloom yet. And I am super happy that thrips were not able to munch the buds. And I was finally able to have a healthy Cattleya that is pushing out flowers. So this one warmed my heart when I saw the flowers open for the first time. And it has a beautiful color. It's like a strong tone of pink, and when you have some growing lights on top of it as well, it sparkles, so it is a gorgeous plant. Just to let you know, I don't have many plants in bloom this month, but I do have some Phalaenopsis, but I will leave the Phalaenopsis towards the end of the video, so I will end this video with only these beauties in bloom. For now, I'll keep going, but if you're enjoying the video so far, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below, let me know which one of these orchids you'd like to have in your collection or which one of them you do have. If you feel a little bit extra, there is also a super thanks here that could support my channel even further, and there are some affiliated links down below as well. But now, enough of this blab, let's go back to these beautiful orchids. So here I have my Zygopetalum Impasto green. This is the only green flower that I have in my collection, apart from Hoyas that sometimes push out little green inflorescence as well, but I'm not gonna talk about Hoyas. So this is a beautiful orchid. It is a super vigorous Zygopetalum that's capable to bloom multiple times a year as well. And what I love about this Zygopetalum specifically is that this time it pushed out 3 flower spikes. The flowers, they are super thick and they have all green petals and sepals with a very purple lip that contrasts with the overall look of the flower. This Zygopetalum has one of these wild look. It's one of these wild look orchids. I think it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's so different to have some Zygopetalums in our collection because the flowers, they are not exactly similar to some of other orchids that we find locally in supermarkets and garden centers. And on top of that, I found this Zygopetalum locally, like most of my zygos. So, talking about it, I just want to let you know that it put out a beautiful flower show, and I was really happy because these orchids have been through a lot. As you can see, I had only 2 flower spikes here because I missed the right time to film all of them in bloom, but nonetheless, it's gorgeous and it has a very strong fragrance. So if you have sun sensitivity, I would recommend you to stay far from Zygopetalums. I can have it in my collection if I'm not sitting near the plant. But this one, the fragrance is a little bit subtle than my other Zygopetalum, which is a little bit better, but it has the typical Zygopetalum fragrance that's like a spicy, strong and sweet, just to let you know. Next, I have a Paphiopedillum yet again. This one is my Paphiopedillum Pinoccio. This is a common Paphiopedillum hybrid. I found it in a garden center here in London. It wasn't expensive. It was actually cheap, if I'm not mistaken. This Zygopetalum doesn't have mottled leaves. It has green leaves, but it is a sequential bloomer, which means that this flower that you are seeing here is the last flower, but the flower spike is super long. And if you look into it, you will notice there are lots of nodes around the flower spike. That happened because it was blooming and each flower was fading, and then another bud appeared, and then this bud matured and opened another flower. So this Paphiopedilum is able to bloom for all over the year. Usually it's always blooming. I think if I have to point out an orchid that it's always blooming in my collection, I would say the Paphiopedillum Pinoccio. It only stopped blooming for me when I repotted. I had to change a few things. So then it took a while for the flower spike to start pushing out buds again. But then now, finally push out this bud. I have another fund that is maturing, so I might have a new flower spike coming up soon. And as soon as this flower spike is mature, it will push out the first flower, and it will be able to bloom and rebloom from this spike for probably, I don't know, at least half of the year. So that's super amazing. It's an easy to grow orchid. If you don't like Paphiopedilums because they are super slow, this one is not one of those. So I would super recommend that for beginners and also for people that would like to try Paphiopedilums. Just before I go, just to let you know that the flowers of this Paphiopedilum, they are hairy. So if you look into these little fuzzy things, it is part of the flower. And I love how the color of the pouch contrasts with the rest of the orchid. I told you that I don't have many green orchids, but this Paphiopedilum definitely has some green tones. And I just remember that I have another Paphiopedilum that is also green. So, my mistake. So I do have some green flowers around. But now let's go to the next orchid. And this one is my beautiful Dendrobium Sa-Nook Polar Fire. I love Dendrobium Sa-Nooks. They are also Sa-Nooks because of the hybridizer, but it's one of these Dendrobium Phalaenopsis. They are a bit different from Dendrobium nobilis because they don't need a cool down in temperature to be able to bloom. They are able to bloom all over the year. They are highlight plants and they adore like hot and dry environments more than some other orchids. And they will push out flowers that will last for a long, long time, which is amazing. However, this plant suffered a massive attack of thrips I did spray the leaves with neem oil. It worked wonders. Didn't attack the leaves, but did attack the flower spike, mainly the buds, so the buds were blasting one after another one. For this reason, I only have 2 flowers. And these flowers, they are at the top of the spike. And as you can see, there are some grazings in the flowers as well, which is very sad. But I want to show you because I don't know when this plant will rebloom and how I'm gonna get rid of these pests. So for the time being, that's the Dendrobium Phalaenopsis that I have in bloom, and I'm really proud that it was able to open these 2 flowers. Just to let you know, these plants are super great and they are not difficult to look after either, and we can find them locally. So let's go to the next one. Here I have my Phalaenopsis Soft Cloud. I think that's the Soft Cloud, I'm not sure. These are complex hybrids that I found locally in supermarkets, so they don't have any tags. These are just commercial names. This is one of the, I think this is the only white Phalaenopsis that I have in my collection. And I noticed with this one that each year it looks better and better. I lost the prime of this plant. As you can see, there are some buds that are blasting there, and that's because I forgot to water it when it was open, most of its flowers. So I had like some bud blast, but that's not because of pests. These plants, they are being filmed in my bedroom because the ones that I made in my bedroom, they get a little bit more protected if I compare with the ones in my living room. I don't want to spread thrips all around. That's why you're seeing a change in scenery here. These plants push out a ton of small flowers. They are so cute, specifically when they all open together. This is usually one of my first Phalaenopsis to open. That's why it's completely in full bloom, in full glory since the end of December, and I can't stop looking at it. I love these small flowers with this cute yellow lip. I think it's so elegant, it's so cute. Doesn't have any fragrance. It's just one of these complex hybrids that we find locally, and I enjoy it very much. Let's go to the next one. This one is also a complex hybrid that I found locally in a supermarket here in London. I have this plant for a while, but I had some issues and I had to repot it. But now it's finally doing well, so I have this beautiful flower spike. This one is called Phalaenopsis Pinlong Cherry. And what I love about this plant is the fact that when it pushes out the spike, usually all the buds, they will be aligned opposite at each other. It's not because of the light only, I think it's because of the genes. I was looking and I believe this one has a ton of Schilleriana and also another species that both have the same type of spike that has this cascading effect, which is so beautiful. It helps to have only one direction of light, but I think in this case the genetics help as well, which is amazing because looking at it, I find it so balanced, so nice. It's not definitely not on me. I think it's much more due to its genetics than anything else. So I think it's looking super, super nice. And the flowers, they have this soft pink tone to them with like a white lip. They are also perfumey. They have this floral, subtle perfumey, similar to the Schilleriana, and the leaves are mottled. So it's definitely a gorgeous, gorgeous Phalaenopsis to have in your collection. And on top of that, like most of my other plants, they are super cheap as well and affordable where I live, which is great. I adore this plant. Even so, it's just a common pink Phalaenopsis, but it's beautiful. Now I have here the Phalaenopsis Blueberry Ice Cream Peloric. Again, just some name that I found online. Look into pictures. These are not IDs. So don't take my words for granted. I bought this one in a supermarket as well. And I'm really glad to show you these because these plants I repotted here. And I decided to create a community potting where I had 3 cakeys. I removed 3 cakes from the plant. The plant was dying, the mother plant, and I potted these 3 cakes together. I was really hopeful that one day this plant will actually push out flower spikes from all of the cakes together, and I would have an impressive bloom show. This year, this didn't happen, but one of the cakes was finally able to push out one flower spike. Is small, doesn't have many flowers yet, because this plant is not fully matured. Nonetheless, the flowers that it has now, they are so beautiful. They are peloric, because as you can see, the petals are copying the lip, mimicking the lip. It's one of these common purple Phalaenopsis, but what's special about it, in my opinion, is the peloric trait. I think it's so beautiful how the petals try to mimic the lip, and I think that it gives the flower a super nice design. It's a compact Phalaenopsis, one of these mini Phalaenopsis, and it is gorgeous. It doesn't have any fragrance, but it's definitely a great addition to any collection. Now, let's go to one more Phalaenopsis. This one is my Phalaenopsis Diffusion. It's one of these complex hybrids as well. As you can see, now we do have a tone of pink. That's because of the growing light. As I said, I'm not filming all of these plants in my living room, so the light is a bit different. But look at this beauty. Not only it has the tone of pink here, it's very warm, goes towards the red tint, and it's very different from other plants when we talk about its colors. However, it is gorgeous, and I think what's more special about this plant is not only that it's one of these complex hybrids that are super compact, fits anywhere. I have this plant for many years. It's not growing that much, so I think it's gonna be always super compact. It has mottled leaves. The leaves are beautiful. I love them. And on top of that, it has a beautiful fragrance. It's not a fragrance that, at least I don't get sick when I'm around it. It's just a floral, fruity fragrance that reminds me of some subtle perfumes. It's beautiful. It's definitely stronger than the other Phalaenopsis that I just showed you, but it's a very beautiful fragrance. I have no idea how to explain it, just that it's a bit fruity, mouth-watering, and it's not super sweet, which is great. And on top of that, you'll be able to bloom for you every year. The flowers last super long like other Phalaenopsis. It's a joy to grow, and you can enjoy the leaves even when we don't have flower spikes. Now let's go to the last plant of this section here, and it's definitely a Phalaenopsis. This one is again a primary hybrid actually. That looks much more like a Polychilus, but will bloom for me almost, I don't know, like around 3 times a year. But the best blooming show of this plant is when it's winter, when the temperature drops, which tells me that the parents, probably some of them, would enjoy a drop in temperature to be able to push out flowers. This is the Phalaenopsis Meen Strella. It has these beautiful, deep, dark, like burgundy flowers. They are tiny, but this plant is capable of pushing out so many flower spikes. Mine is growing all over the place, out of the pot, ton of aerial roots. It's becoming a very messy plant. I need to get to it. However, it's one of the most beautiful colors that I have in my collection. I'm crazy about the color of these flowers. I love this deep tone of red with this like yellow lip that has something pink below it as well. It's just difficult to film because the flowers are definitely very small, but they are beautiful. And on top of that, you can have flowers many times a year because these spikes will be able to push out more tiny flowers when they are matured. So keep looking after this plant, and I'm sure you wouldn't regret it. On top of that, It has some mottling in its leaves as well. It just requires a little bit more space because it becomes super tall and messy, as I just mentioned. It's also one of these Phalaenopsis that push out so many cakeys, so it's super easy to remove one cake and have more than one plant, or give one to a friend, or do something with it, I don't know, but it's definitely one of these Phalaenopsis that is able to create more cakeys. With that, I will end my video here. I hope you enjoyed it so far. If you did, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know which of these plants is your favorite, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!